In today's video, I'm taking a flat, lifeless raw file and bringing it to life, just the way it was meant to be. With a few basic adjustments and 3 simple masks, I'll show you how to turn a dull image into a dynamic, eye-catching final shot. Okay, so here we are in Lightroom with our photo. As you can see, it's a little bit of flat and boring, which is the whole point. We're going to be going in and making some nice changes to make this shot stand out a lot more. I'm going to be breaking up the area with masks. So we're working on a sky mask, a mask for the pier and the rock formations around here, and then finally a water mask down here to work on the details of the sea as well. But before we do any of that, we're just going to make some global adjustments using these tools here on the right hand side. So first of all, we're going to jump into our lens corrections and make sure that everything's nice and straight. I'm sure it is all straight anyway. Sometimes these angles of the pier and the horizon is nice and straight. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So first of all, we're going to work through these in order. We're going to use Adobe Landscape, and we're going to jump straight into auto on white balance. So instantly that's starting to make a slightly nicer color. It's taking away a lot of the blue cast. So jump up the temperature a little bit, I think. That's quite nice there. Quite happy with the tint. We don't want to make it too garish. We're going to work on the exposure. I'm quite happy with that. Maybe boost the contrast slightly. Yep. Our highlights. There's a lot of highlights works you can see from our histogram up here. So we're going to drop them down. Bring them all the way down. It's quite nice. Yep. Shadows. There's not many shadows going on, but there was some details here that I think we're potentially losing. Okay, we'll do a big slide to see where we are affecting. So bring that up there like that. Whites, like our highlights, I'm going to bring them down a bit. Always, while we're doing this, I'm keeping attention to my histogram as well to see how the balance of everything is going on up there. Blacks, like our shadows, maybe drop them down just a smidgen as well. So already, instantly, as you can see, it's already looking better. Just those subtle changes there. So what we're going to be doing next is jumping down to the tone curve. Raise our black font. A lot of these are, if you see any of my other videos, they're pretty much stock of things that I like to do. There's increased our contrast quite a bit there. Okay, so we can ignore the color mixer. We want to color grade him. So just work on our base. We're going to add a little bit of a blue. Very slight blue. And our shadows there. Maybe a little bit more saturation on that. Ever so gentle. And then with our highlights, the opposite. We're going to be going to a golden orange. It's quite nice. I think the balance down slightly there. Maybe with our midtones. Maybe bring down the luminance a little bit on that. To bring some of this detail back. How does that look there? Subtle but nice. Like it. Now I did shoot this ISO 640, so while we're here, we're going to jump into the detail section. I am going to denoise. The new update in Lightroom is a game changer for me because I only have to have one photo now with denoise instead of making the separate DNG file, which doubles up on the amount of hard drive space that you need. So we let that finish. Right, so zooming in there, as you can see, it's nice and sharp now. The detail that we've got, no noise going on. Lovely stuff, right? We've done our lens corrections, we've done our transform. I'm not interested in any of them. Calibration. Still a little bit of bluiness going on, so we're going to drop the blue a little bit. Greens. It's quite nice there, so if we drop them down, it almost goes quite black and white. If we go too much, it saturates up here, so that's quite nice. Because the sea was a little bit blue. And with the reds, what are they going to be doing to us? Maybe drop them down a little bit as well, like so. Subtle changes, very nice. Okay, So now we're going to move on to the masking. So like I said, we're going to be working on the sky, the pier, and the rock formations here. And then we'll be going on to do the water down here. There are many ways of doing these detailed adjustments with the masks. So first of all, we're going to try the landscape option. Now this can be hit and miss for me sometimes. I always find it a little bit, the good ones are the good buttons, but yeah, let's see what happens. Right, so as you can see, it's picked up the sky. Architecture I'm not happy with because it needs to go. That's okay, we can add to that. The water is nice, and the natural ground is nice as well. So we might be able to blend the architecture and natural ground. To start off with though, we'll just use the sky. Create mask. That was a little bit too much, so we're going to just drop ever so slightly there. Contrast, maybe a little bit that. Temperature, not too much. Add a bit more purple too. There we are. Nice. How does that look? So we've got this belt of Venus across the sky here, and a little bit of sun. The sun was behind me when I took this shot, so the pier is all lit up in the glow of the sun. So there's not going to be many clouds, but you can see up here that we've got a little bit of pinkiness and the blue going on in there as well. So what are the shadows doing there? We don't want to damage it too much. Whites. Just a smidge there, and maybe with the blacks. Nice. Very good. So you turn that on and off and you can see the adjustments that you've made. Okay. Texture. Maybe a little bit, get those clouds back in a little bit. Leave dehaze as it is. Right, that's fine. So I quite like the sky like that. Now we're going to work on the pier and the rocky formations. So where's landscape? There it is. Select landscape. So we can check architecture and natural ground. Don't want two separate masks. I want one mask. Create. Now I'm going to add with the brush here because actually we'll use the select object. Make sure that the square rectangle is selected. So I'm going to draw on that. It finally adds it in, and then we're going to add brush and just do this bit here. Nice. So everything else is going to be the water. We've got the sky done. We're going to be working on this now. So exposure, exposure, just ever so slightly want to bring it up just to make it come out a little bit, and the contrast a little bit as well to bring out the detail in those rocks. Highlights. That's quite nice there. Shadows. I don't want to overdo it because when we go down to the left, you can see it's making it all really, really a bit over the top. So I'm going to boost them a little bit. Whites. Drop the whites slightly to make it look a little bit more natural. And with the blacks then, just bring out some of those rocky details down here. Texture. A little bit of detail in the rocks. And the pier. Clarity. Don't too much clarity. So let's drop it down a little bit. Way too much there. We'll leave the dehaze. How is that looking? Nice. Particularly down in these rocks down here, the detail looks like it's a lot more emphasized. So next we're going to add a mask. Next we're going to add a mask now for the sea. The water is all going on down here. Water. Create mask. Drop the exposure down ever so slightly. Like that. Contrast. Highlights. Cut like that. Shadows up. Whites. That's nice because I want the emphasis on the white water that's coming around you. That's the whole point of using the little stopper in the first place, to get this streaky water. So we want to emphasize it ever so slightly as well. Not to the point that we're ruining the shot though. Potentially a little bit blue. That makes that a little bit more warm and natural looking. Oof. Don't like that. Texture. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't want it too much there. I want to smooth it out, smudging. But with a little bit of clarity. If you turn all those masks off, you can see the difference that we've made with just 3 masks. So we've done the sky, the pier, and the rocks, and the sea. Fantastic. So there, within a couple of minutes, 10 minutes, you can take a photo from being flat and boring to instantly becoming a much nicer, more poppy photo. Anyway, I hope you liked today's video. Thank you very much for your time today, and I hope to see you again in the next one. Thank you.